Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And I wanted to start kind of a new series because I was thinking of maybe delving into the past a little bit and sharing with you some tales of action and adventure. Okay, so there's probably no way for me to prove to you that any of these stories that I will be doing in this series are true. You're just going to have to take my word for it. I wouldn't make these up. But anyway, I had a job where I got to catch shoplifters and I got to do internal investigations. And I did this for multiple companies. And I was going to share with you some of my adventures that I had while performing that job. Now, the interesting thing about this is, in looking back through some of these cases and thinking about, oh, what actually happened, can I remember? There's a lot of things. I mean, I've got lists of cases. I mean, pages and pages and pages, because I kept some of my documentation of just kind of like how much money was involved with the case, and was it an internal, wasn't it external? Before I don't want to lose you with too much details. Um, so I'm going to get into my first one right now. So my first case that I ever had on my own after I went through some training was the girl with four shirts. Now, the reason why this one stands out to me is because I will always remember the first time I caught somebody on my own. And so I witnessed a girl come into the certain department and saw her select four different shirts. And in fact, they were sweaters. They were Tommy sweaters. And so she selected these four sweaters. She carried them into a fitting room, and then as she was standing in the fitting room, and it was kind of like, those those half doors on these fitting rooms, so you can kind of see like the top of someone's head, and then you can see the shoes at the bottom. So kind of a long door, but you can tell if somebody was in there, kind of a room. And so I see her take these four sweaters into the fitting room, and I see her, top of her hands go up over the door in a sweater. She's trying on the sweater. And then I see her hands go up again and another sweater go on. And then hands go up again and the third sweater goes on. She does that for all four sweaters. So no sweaters came off before the next one. It was four sweaters went on in a row. And then she exits the fitting room and starts walking towards the exit of the store. And very quickly, I rush into the fitting room where she can't see me and check the fitting room. And there's the four tags along with security tags just laying there on the bench. So she went in there with the four sweaters. She exited wearing all the sweaters, left the tags behind. It was a pretty easy apprehension. So I did. I went to the door. Actually, I wasn't quite released to make apprehensions on my own yet. So while this is happening, I called my supervisor and said, "Hey, this is what I'm witnessing." And they're like, "Are you absolutely sure?" And I said, yes, this is absolutely happening. And they said, "Okay, go ahead and make the stop." So I did. Now, the reason why that is a very important thing, I just want to tell you, for all these stories that are going to come up in the future, you have to be sure of what you see. You have to believe in what you see, because every time you stop somebody who has stolen, they're going to turn around and you're going to say, "Hey, I want our merchandise back." They're going to turn around and say, "What are you talking about? I didn't do anything." And then immediately it's like, "Oh no, you stole our merchandise. That's ours." This is what happened with her. You stole those 4 sweaters. No, I didn't steal anything. That's the immediate reaction every single time. I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. You're harassing me. So there's, they will make all kinds of noise, things like that. So you absolutely must believe in yourself that what you saw, because they're trying to convince you you didn't see that. Your own brain is trying to convince you, did I really see that? I'm not really sure. And so then you have an outside influence saying, nope, nope, what you think you saw didn't really happen. You have to be almost arrogantly sure of what you saw. You cannot be convinced otherwise. You have to believe your eyes and trust yourself. Otherwise, you can't do that kind of work. And you have to be ready for confrontation because it's going to come. Well, with this one, no, I didn't do anything. I didn't steal those. Yes, you did. I have the tags. I know you went in there with the 4. You came out with nothing. You're wearing them. I want them back. And so, yes, okay, fine, okay. So she comes back in. And now, meanwhile, my supervisor was actually on their way to the store. And by the time I get her into the back room with witnesses back there, and start typing up a report and filling out the ticket, supervisor had arrived. And you know they start talking to them, and it turns out that she had actually taken something else previously and was now she just wanted her conscience to be clean. So she took us out to the car, opened up the trunk, and gave back, I think it was like a necklace that she had taken from an earlier time. And so yeah, so that was my first case. That was my first catch by myself. Now the next one, because I've got a bunch of them, I'm going to share 2 of them with you on this go around. My next one involved 2 professional thieves. What happened was, I was actually in my office and I got a phone call from an associate out on the floor saying, "Hey, we just had a couple of ladies, look like a mother and daughter, just took armfuls of jeans into a fitting room area, and they're just ripping off tags." And so I run out there, I get to that dressing room, and yes, I mean, I can hear them. They're in there, they're just ripping off tags, and they're shoving stuff in bags and stuff, and you could just hear all this commotion going on. They come running out of the fitting room. 2 huge bags each, just full of jeans. Probably, over 1,000. This is like a grand larceny at this point. Of just jeans. And they're making it for the door. I'm just like, "Stop, you need to come back with those items." They just keep going. I follow them outside, and I'm getting in front of them saying, "You need to come back. You need to come back to the store. Don't steal our merchandise." And they just keep going. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to call the police. So I get on the phone, I call the police, and I'm saying, yes, there's people stealing out of our store at this moment. And they were past the point where I was going to make an apprehension at that point. I was just trying to get information. So I'm walking and I'm trying to gather as much information as I can. And as I'm walking, I see this car it's to the side and it starts pulling out towards me. And I realized that this is their driver. So I quickly get behind and in between a couple of other cars in the parking lot and get out of the way. And this other car does. It swings over. They jump in, and I'm yelling at them saying, "I've got your plate. I've got your license plate." And so I called in the plate as I'm on the phone with the sheriff's department, and they take off driving. And um, that was it. That was it. That was the last that I had heard of that until about a week later. And this was really something. About a week later, a woman comes into the store and was talking to one of our associates, and they called me. And while I was in my office, they called and they said, "Hey, there's someone out here that you're going to want to talk to." And this woman said, "Yeah, like last week, I didn't notice it until like a couple days later, but she goes, sometime last week, um, I noticed in the back of my truck." Somebody had thrown bags of jeans in the back of my truck. And it took me a while to figure out where they came from because I don't wear that brand. And then I showed it to my daughter, and my daughter's like, "Oh, that's that store over there. That's the one that sells that brand. That's where I buy mine." And so she's like, are you guys missing jeans? Did this, do you know where this came from?" And I was like, "Absolutely. I know exactly where that came from." So the people that had stolen those jeans, because I had said, "I've got your license plate, I'm calling you in," because I had pursued it to that point, they ditched the jeans. They didn't want to get caught with the merchandise. So I did get a pretty nice, sizable recovery on that one. But I learned, yeah, I'm not following somebody out that far, or I'm gonna wait, up on the curb to see which vehicle they get into or whatever before I walk out any further. Because yeah, I was right in the front of that car. If they hit the gas and wanted to, yeah, they could have hit me. But those were two of my first early experiences of handling things on my own. um, and But I did get a whole lot more seasoned and have some really interesting tales to share with you for the future. So I hope you join me. I hope you enjoy these videos, because I'm going to take you on some pretty wild rides, and some pretty crazy stuff. And I'll tell you, when they say the adrenaline that thieves get when they take things and when they steal, you get that same adrenaline when you catch them. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of adrenaline that can be flowing. So anyway, I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.